we're stopped at a stoplight up the road there, and she's like, take off really hard. We brought the wheel off the ground twice.
You could feel it too. It was awesome.
I love it.
Twice.
I love it. All right, so you guys obviously remember Mark and Amy. We built their M8. So you got a bunch of highway miles on it, a bunch of back road miles, everything else. So I'm going to shut up and let you talk. What do you think?
It's amazing. The process was not only good, but it was fun, right?
Okay.
And I think you get out of it as a process, right? You do your part, right? To get the most out of it, you got to do, right? You got to be engaged a little bit and watch and as much as you can. I even got a lot of all the videos, but from the time when we really talked about how do you ride, well, like not only like do you hit the throttle a lot, but like what's a typical day look like to you, right? And for us, it's some highway miles, and it's you know, and then some mountain stuff or camping and stuff. And we kind of talked a lot about what was important, like what we needed out of that build. And I think that gave you the frame of reference, at least from the results. I would say it gave you the frame of reference to give us exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
But you know, I thought through the whole process, and I made that one comment on there, and I meant that sincerely, right? The other thing is, I went before I committed, right? You have to look at all your options. And there's a lot of people that build a bunch of parts on. Not a single one of them asked you a question, other than what do you want to spend, right? That's
Right.
where it all starts. It was different. The process is different, right? It's like, what are you looking for? What's important to you, right? And the dollars come in after all that, right? Here's how we can kind of get you there. Then you can pick how and what components make sense for you to get there, right? I thought it was a very interactive process. But the integrity component, it's a commitment of time. And I can't say that I'm the most patient guy in the world. I know that. So if you think I made you guys, that's why I started putting everything like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be empathic, but I gotta know.
Right.
It was twice as bad on her side because, you know, you're excited, right? And that's how it should be.
Yes. I agree.
But it was great, and for my part, you know, the ability and the willingness for you to tolerate me coming down here. I think I counted them up. I think I've been down here about 10 times, and I think this is maybe the first time I rode my bike here.
Yeah. That's right. I love the fact that both of you were so engaged in the build, and you wanted to learn and see every single aspect of what goes into this. I hope you'll agree it was an eye-opener.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day,
I have a lot of respect for what you do.
Well,
You are a busy man,
Thank you.
and you have good work. It shows in your work.
Well,
It does.
and I think what's cool is that you know, the quality that goes into each piece of it. Everybody says they have quality, and I'm not saying that most don't. They probably do.
Right.
All I know is I've sat here, whether it was my motor or other motors, when I've just come down to visit or
Pop in out of nowhere.
Right. You know, I've watched you go through each of the components that go into buildings. I think I've seen you do at one phase or another almost everything that goes into that motor. And you seem as excited when you're measuring the cylinder and it's like dead balls. You seem as excited as I was when you measured mine, right? It's like, yes, this is perfect, you know? And it's almost like you're talking to yourself like this mad scientist, you know?
On the numbers.
Yes, right? And you know, I think that comes across in the quality of what gets built, you know? The attention to detail and the fact that I think, you know, you mentioned that we're invested. We were interested and excited in it, right? But, you know, if you watch you do this, it's obvious that you are just as invested in every single motor component I've watched you do as the person you're doing it for.
That's true.
And that's a big deal, right? It's a really big deal. And the end result is, it's insane. I mean, the bike it's out of control.
Out of control.
it's out of control. I told her, we just, you know, she likes to go fast, and she was like, really hit it when we came off. That wheel popped off the ground 2 years in a row. And I'm like, we're running up on the car in front of us, so it was like, okay.
It's nice to pull the front end, second, third gear with a passenger on the back.
Yes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and of course we can't, you know, we don't do this stuff by ourselves. Fortunately, we've had long relationships with companies that make parts, because we don't make everything. And my goal is to get the best stuff I can get, whether it comes from me or somebody else. It doesn't matter to me where it comes from.
Yeah.
But we have such good relationships with all the manufacturers that if there is an issue, if there's anything, they help us, they take care of us. But we also rely on incredibly talented people to design and configure components. But in the reality, everything, as we've discussed, everything is mechanical.
Yes.
And anything can happen. It's no slam on any brand or anything, but knowing anything can happen. You got to take those extra steps to, as we've talked, measuring plates and pumps and testing parts, even brand new parts, testing them before we put in, because I guess I want to know that if something leaves here, if something does happen, that every single effort has been made to make it as perfect as we can make it when it leaves.
Your guys are awesome too.
Yes, they
Right.
are. Well, I've got a team here that's unbelievable.
Jason has picked up the phone every time I've called, and I probably call more than he prefers. Because he picks up the phone and he's like, okay, what's up, wild man? Hey man, just a quick question. And Guy too, right? I mean, every time I've had a question or like for today, for example, I come down. You guys didn't know in advance I was coming down. I called Jason yesterday. I'm like, can I come down? He's like, yeah. And you went over everything on that bike. You checked everything again. You cut the oil filter. All the stuff you hear on the videos, I've watched you do personally, and it's all real because you actually do it, right? And you took the time to go over that motor after 500 miles. Mm-hmm. To make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to do. I mean, I can tell you from my side, it's doing everything.
Yeah.
But you know, your whole staff, everything about your operation has just been great.
Well, thank you.
You know, and couldn't be happier.
What do you think about the bike? What do y'all think?
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. I think the first time you took me out, I was hoping to get thrown back in the seat, and I did. And when I told him, I was like, you cracked my back, and it was amazing. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, all I know is you cracked my back, and that hasn't been done yet.
Right.
It threw me back so hard, it actually gave me a nice crack.
Awesome.
She's easy. Crack her back, and she's a happy woman. You don't need mink stoles and big money and diamond rings. You just gotta crack her
Well,
back.
hang on.
Crack
On
her
your
back.
motorcycle.
Hold on.
Yeah. Let's not get carried away.
Don't
Right?
get carried away.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add? Any suggestions you have on how we could do things better? How you're on camera and everybody's going to see this, and I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to let it roll. So what's your honest?
think I may have said that you've probably ruined other shops for me, because I have seen some other shops and they're not like this, and they're not run like this. So I'm impressed.
Well, thank
I
you.
really am.
Thank you.
You got a good thing here.
Thank you very
You
much.
got amazing thing here, right? Integrity is something we talk about this on a personal note, right? When we're having our conversations, when I'm taking up hours of your time, we talk about the integrity factor, right? And everything from it's going to be a long time, right? You know, recognize that. Here's here are your choices, and here's the pros and the cons of both. You have. You know, like I had mentioned to you before, right? I did some work on this bike myself, and I'm fairly handy. I can't machine this stuff like you do. I'm not that lean, but I'm good enough to do a reasonable amount of work. And I do my research and my homework. And getting every bit of information I could get, I still made some decisions that weren't in my best interest. And it wasn't because anybody didn't tell me the truth. It's because I didn't get all of the information. Right, so I might have made a different decision. What comes out of here is all of the information. Here's this, and here's why it's important. Like, and here's what you need to know when you're considering making this decision, right? Then you're informed enough to actually make an informed decision, right? And there's not very many places you can go to get that kind of information, right? It's salespeople, right? And they're trying to sell. You're a craftsman who is stuck with doing some sales work, right? Versus a salesman who's trying to make money, right? You bring the quality and the money, you make a living. And you make a living doing what you love, right? But it's only because the integrity is there and the craftsmanship is there. And the selling part takes care of it. So when you talk to someone, at least to me, I got a lot of very, very valuable information that could help me make a decision. And I'll give you the example, right? When I was deciding how much of this bike to rebuild or not, we talked about, you were kind enough to invest a considerable amount of time talking to me about those things. And I mentioned this to you before, right? But figuring out the root cause of why you're having the problems instead of just throwing parts on it and hoping that it goes away. As you start to peel that onion, I came to the conclusion that the only way I could be sure that I wasn't going to have this problem and throw all this money away, which is what I did when I tried to do it myself, was to go through this full process. It's just been, it's been great. All the way around, it's been great. And I'm still going to come down here and bother you.
I would not.
You won't get rid of me that easy.
Well, she's prettier than you, so make sure you bring her.
Yeah, by the way, right?
Yeah,
just in case anybody knows, when I got here today to see him, I'm like, hey man, it's good to see you. Blew right past me. Like I wasn't even there, went right to her.
Can you blame me?
No, I don't blame you. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. But it was pretty funny.
Guys, it thanks a lot. I know you came a long way. I know you invested a lot of your own time. I know you invested a lot of your money. That's the reality of this. I do this because I love it. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head. The hard part about doing what I do is I have to run a business too. Yes. I would far prefer to be building relationships, making friends. We'll be friends forever.
Oh yeah.
And I would prefer to be in the shop and getting my hand dirty. But this is the best part, right? In your face the first time you wrote it. And
it's unbelievable. Here's what I'll say to anybody who's watching this or anything else, right? If you're debating either to do this work or where to do this work, there's no question about where to get this work done. This is the place to get the work done. And it's an investment in time, right? It's going to take some time. But I can tell you, and it's, I will say, from a dollars and cents perspective, there are a lot of places that advertise high horsepower, high this, high that, and custom built engines, right? Slapping a bunch of parts together. Your numbers were very much competitive, but the quality of your work, not even close, right? This is a bargain. What you get here in terms of investment in time and money is a bargain.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about getting it done, well worth it, because the minute you crack the throttle and you lift the wheel off the ground, 2 gears in a row,
crack your wife's back.
Crack your wife's back. This is the only way to go, and it's worth every minute and every penny.
Thank you.
I really genuinely can't thank you enough. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been amazing, really.
It was awesome. I gotta admit, because you're right. I don't. Every time I hit the button, as many engines as I've built, going all the way back to when I was a little kid, every time I hit a button, I get giddy that first time. And I know what I want one to do, but what matters is when you come back, right? When it's not just that on the numbers when you're boring a cylinder, and or setting a valve stem protrusion, or you've seen every bit of this, right? And it's not, yes, there's a lot of pride machinists have, and that's the term, being on the numbers. But then when you've kind of conceptualized the entire build, based off what you both told me that you wanted, and when you come back and you go, you nailed it. That's that final on the numbers. Damn it, we did it. You know, and
You did it. High five. You did it.
I get just as giddy like a schoolgirl with every single one, and I absolutely love it. And as long as the good Lord grants me the brain and the physical ability to do it, I wouldn't want to do anything else. So
It shows.
thank you both very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure. I love coming here. She's like, you're going down there again?
Leave him alone.
Yes, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to go down there. It's very important.
So you're heading to Florida?
We're heading to Florida. Yeah, we're gonna run down to Daytona, and then we may take a ride out to the Keys, and I'm gonna actually go taunt Joe.
Taunt
I'm
Joe.
going to taunt my buddy Joe, who you did the top end for.
Yes. Yeah.
But
How was his, by the way?
he loves it. He can't talk enough good stuff about it, so I'm just gonna go down and taunt him.
Taunt.
I'm gonna taunt him like,
He's gonna take him down.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, crack her
Mine's
back some more. Crack her back some more. Thank you all again very much.
yeah, I
Means
can't
a
carry,
lot.
I can't say that. It's been a blast. We'll let you get on the road, brother. See you.
You got it, my friend.
We'll
Now,
see you soon.
remember, she's prettier than you.
I know.
You
That's why I'm not
got,
bringing her.
you got the hug. You got the hug first, though, right there.
Well, yeah, that's because you had to get to me to get to you.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank y'all. Y'all are the
you.
best, and go right.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that.
You're welcome.